sport, not only football, you realize that parents just leave the kids alone to go play. But you know what is very funny? Is that when everyone is talking about you and signing you for a top team, then they start telling everybody just to listen that that's not. What have you been? Yeah? We didn't know that you ever won. Yeah? So let us make them a priority. Let us always support them in their dreams. I'm not going to go straight to that point. I want to go now from the young ages that I went through. Because that you see, it's when there was payment. I'm talking about love, not payment, where you get starting paid. I was as young as you, and young as I was just loving the game. And one thing that I need to share with you is that when you're young, do what youngsters have to do. Just live and play, and obviously study. But the biggest thing is what the speakers have said earlier, where Jude also was encouraging you to always be humble and respect. You have to respect each other, respect yourselves. But I've always said to people, don't worry about someone who doesn't respect you. Does that person respect himself or herself? So respect yourself first, and then respect the next person. Because if you don't respect yourself, you realize that even if you have dreams, those dreams will be short-lived because of not respecting yourself, thinking you have arrived. So young as I was at the primary school in Middlesex, in Soweto, Mappnyane High School. And I was 13. I remember the jersey, the school jersey was up to my knees. And those were the days when, I'm sure one or two of you parents will remember, those were the days when we were going through the stick. Now, if you are over the stick, even if you are at the age, you are not allowed to play. But because I was short, I was just running past the stick. I was even playing for the A team, because then I would play in 2-3 divisions. That as school. But then weekend, I would play from A, B, C, D. And then you're playing football the whole day. It's weekend. So you are doing what children have to do. Just play. And then you get to mature and understand that you will now combine education with sport. And a lot of you tend to want to say, I want to be a professional. Never want to be a professional. Want to always be in the moment. Want to always do what you are doing best. Live your age. Don't go past and say, I want to be at the age of 18, I want to be this. Be what you are at that age. Because once you're worried about what you want to be, you are not going to be who you are. So remain humble, be who you are. As much as I was enjoying myself at a young age, your age and beyond, 15, 16, I was just playing and having fun in the township. And little did I know that while I was having fun, somebody was watching. In life, in everything that you do, don't think nobody is watching. Somebody somewhere is watching. And I'll never forget this particular day as I was playing in an amateur league at that age of 17 and 0. We were playing in a cup final. And at halftime, the score was 9-1. And I had already scored my 6 goals. So I was substituted, and I thought, why would you substitute me in a cup final? And the coach said, no, we want to give others a chance and want to see what life will be without you. Where am I going? Never when you try to do 10 other teams and not focusing on my studies. I was just focusing on the game and got that shocking message. We want to see life without you, how it's going to be. And right at the end of the game, I had that jump into that car because the Chiefs have been watching you and they're interested in you. And the rest is history. And that's how I turned professional. But you also have to have parents that guide you. Coming from a township parents in particular. Coming from a township, I was privileged, and I'm still asked the same question, that how did you manage to survive through the stardom and all the fame when you obviously come from a township? You could have been getting carried away and one thing that was very important is my parents grounded me all the time. Parents, even if your youngster is doing well, it's still your child. It's not the other way around. Because I bumped into one parent of one professional player, and he was living a wayward life. And he says to me, look at me, who do I look like? I'm thinking, maybe Mandela? Someone older than him. And I'm so-and-so's dad. How do you look like your child? What God do to the world? So he wanted me to say, you look like so-and-so. Who are the staff? But the sad part of, or the end part of that story, is that that youngster died in a very, very sad way. Because parents were never there. We know the story. So always be there. Don't change the names of your children. If it is if it is Usis or it is Usis, you don't start calling your child Gomengo. That's my dad would always say to me, Ostara Kostrate, not in my house. At my trip when I was playing, he would say to me, and I'll never forget this day, he would say to me, every time you come back from school, I must make sure that I follow your studies. Because from school, I would go to training with Cousin Chiefs. He was Cousin Chiefs card-carrying member, but still a parent. And this particular night that I will never forget, we played in Durban. Those were the days that, and I'm giving away my age now. I'm giving away my age. So, this particular night, those were the days when we had the midnight flights, if you can recall, together. So the game was at 8 o'clock in Durban, and finished at 10, and obviously rushed to the airport, because that's the only way we could catch those flights. No showering, rush straight to the airport, and then make that midnight flight. Got home, and I knocked and knocked and knocked. And I ended up talking to him through the keyhole, because he wouldn't open. And he says, you know, it's time for homework, and I know you from the game, but you can't come to my house this week. If you want to come on time, anytime, come to your house at any time, but not in my house. And I thought, I have to explain to the old man. No, I'm from the game. He says, I know you are from the game. I was listening. He says, no, but we were playing in Durban. He says, but the radio couldn't have been so clear when you were in Durban. I thought you were in Orlando. So old man thought, when it's here on radio, that's what it is around the corner. So those are the ways and means that one was kept grounded. I would play a cup final against Acadia from here to Victoria on a Saturday, a cup final. On a Sunday morning, I would fade that soup. It would be shining with the sunlight. With those knees that were kicked around. So, because it's his house, and I'm from a family of boys only, so we were running chores. It was my turn. So I wasn't going to be looked at as I scored. I didn't score for the family. I scored there. So that's how I was grounded. But that helped me a lot, because it taught me to always make sure that everything around me is neat, always try to keep grounded, and always be humble. Humble yourselves. Make sure that you don't look like one or two others when one is bumped across that has tried with every team and never ended up going to school. It is very sad that my team knows who I'm talking about, but I'm just giving you practical examples. Here's a guy that I was playing with at school. Let me rephrase it. Here's a guy that I was at school with, because I wasn't there to play. Here's the guy that I was at school with. And he always knew, and the teachers knew, that he would only be at school on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays. sports stage. And they allowed him to do that. Today, the poor guy is always calling and say, can I get some? Can I get some? We were in the same school, but he thought it was just about sport. Yes, he turned professional. Yes, he played for two big teams, but that did not help him, because at the end, the career has to come to an end. And the sad thing about this career, you can't say it will end at 35, it will end at 36. I mean, some of us were lucky to stop at 36, not end, but stop, because I had had enough after 18 years. But others get injured. You know, here's a story you don't know. There's a player that turned professional for 1 minute 1 minute 55 seconds. The professional player of the world was a professional for 1 minute 55 seconds. What happened is, he's a player in Brazil. What happened is a youngster that everyone was raving about. He didn't care about school because he was about to decide in the 18th. Got onto the pitch. They heard about this youngster wearing number 10. And the game kicked off. They played the ball wide, and he ran to the ball, towards the ball, just on the halfway line. And the opposition went with the 10. Fractured his knee. And that was the end of his team. So now, these are the things that you've always got to think about and advise as parents. Say, make sure that this is your extramural activity. And I want to encourage you by saying, be champions, don't be winners. Because winners win once, and anybody can win. But champions can always win and win and win. But as you go out there, don't win the game, win the hearts. The biggest thing is to win the hearts. You know, it's a small world. You may not notice it because you are young. It's a small world that things you say to opponents, and I've learned that at professional level. Things you say to opponents because you think you are playing for a big team, you play for Kaiser Chiefs, you play for another park, you know, you say bad things to opponents, those things will follow you. Anything that comes out of your mouth that is untoward will always come and haunt you. Suddenly, your team is relegated. You have to play for the same team same team whose players were insulted because you were looking at them as inferior. So respect everybody. Respect your opponents. Respect yourselves. Respect each other. But the biggest respect that I would ask of you as players at this age, respect officials. You know, there's nothing that embarrasses me, because I work with youngsters. And there's nothing that embarrasses me when a youngster from my team disrespect officials. Because it means or says something about you. So you start by respecting officials. Respect their decisions. He's human. And you will learn to know that when you get to professional level with the VAR. Even those that are sitting in the VAR, 3 people and the one behind them. And the one behind them is the 4th one who accepts the last decision. And that decision still comes to be wrong. So it means they also can make mistakes. Now what about one person who's also running around with you? You may not have seen the action outside because he's obscured by these people in front of the action. But you accept that he got it wrong. So most importantly, go out there and represent yourselves. As a youngster, I would say make friends than making enemies. It's not nice to make enemies when you're young. It's not nice to make enemies when you're old either. So go out there and make friends. Be genuine in your handshake. Be genuine in opposition or in tackling and approaching opponents. Do that and you will grow as a person. You will grow as a player. Don't worry about professional. We are watching. Somebody else is watching someone. you will be the best that you can be. But go out there and give it all. I'm still doing this job of analysis on TV and radio. And you know the biggest thing that I always say is that I don't mind a team losing because there could be other factors, the decisions. But give it all. Because I cannot fault anybody for commitment. When the coach asks you for commitment, he's not asking for too much. He's asking for something that's within you. But the worst thing is when you think you know. And where it starts to show that you think you know. And we've been working with a few youngsters, we know these things. You call them and you ask them to listen to you first before they do something. The first thing they do, they will drop their pants. And then they all like, you don't have to play like you're ready to go to the Jets. And you're ready to play. Look like a footballer. You know, small things like those. And I still dislike it when I'm watching professionals today. Even my best player today, Yamin Lama, I don't like that part of it. I know you like him, he's a youngster. That's why I don't like of him. You know the difference between being the best and scoring and changing the goal, or the result, is how you dress. And small things like those. I wonder if anyone watched the game where Belgium played last week, when the old man, the brain, on the touchline, he lifted the foot over his head and killed that ball and played across. And the keeper scrambled and all that. But the point I'm trying to make is because he was dressed properly, he could do because then you have to wipe yourself. Then I will take it out and dip it like anybody else. The sad thing about you, and I want to close by this, is you're watching too much in black pay, you're watching too much so, and then you want to be like all of them. You are all those people in one. And then I'm thinking, where are you? When are we going to see you? Because you can't come to a team and you have one or two of such people. They come to Chiefs, they want to play like AC. We have AC to them already. Who are you? We want someone who will bring something into the game. Don't be like anybody, be yourself. One of the guys tried that, and it's my closing line. One of the guys tried that from the bar. I had a pen, you saw that, and I had one to go to. I used to have that. I had a pen, Dr. Kumaro had a pen, Tracy Mulantegi, and Jerome Tinkuri. And this youngster came to Chiefs for trials. You wanted to look like us. You wanted to get management to believe that he can play, and he looks like us. He came for 2 days. The third day, he was given a good temporary training. And we realized he didn't have a pen, he had a weak on.